You know, the Saints Row series has had an evolution history more bizarre than even Pokemon like this. But where did it begin? Because it certainly wasn't here. Well, my name is Starsense and this is Saints Row 1. The game that started it all. Just booting it up feels so inviting. It's like reconnecting with an old friend you haven't seen in years, but when you do, the spark immediately reignites. I've had quite the journey playing through all these Saints games again, but now I'm home. Saints Row came out in 2006, and while it did well, many were quick to write it off as a GTA clone. But it was more than that. It had charms, it had traits that made it unique, and it had the most gangster-rich experience you could ever ask for. This is the Saints game the fewest have played, likely due to its Xbox 360 exclusivity. No other consoles, no PC port. Yeah, I gotta play this game on Xenia. Ugh. But it's worth it to experience the origin. This is Saints Row at its core and what it once aspired to be. So, does it hold up? Let's discuss that.
Saints Row.
And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like. Before we get to see the intro, we're prompted to create our character. The face customization is pretty good, especially for a 2006 title. There's just one big problem. You can't change your sex. This sucks because inserting myself into the game results in more immersion. This one detail is probably what I dislike most about this game. So we gotta make do. I'll just play as Tupac. Fuck, how do I dress this guy? I'm not doing that. The clothing selection is a bit lacking and the limited color choice isn't helping its cause, though we can customize layers with separate shirts and jackets, even choose if we want to tuck in or not. There's lots of accessories too, especially in jewelry stores. Okay, don't guys have some weird rule to this? Wait, and for reference? Oh, alright Tupac. We have a pretty good amount of tattoos to pick from, though I found the selection to be a little cheesy. Guys, I can't seem to find the tramp stamps. We also can't save outfits, which is super annoying. As for the personality of the boss, old habits die hard. Actually, we're the playa in this game, and we're a mostly silent protagonist. This can be okay for the sake of roleplay, because I definitely want to roleplay as a dead black man, but it makes the dialogue feel a bit empty at times, though it's a huge treat when we do speak up and reveal ourselves to be a total smartass. All set. We kick this game off by taking a walk through the ghetto. We get to enjoy the beautiful scenery and kind civilians uniting in harmony before us. Alright. We watch gang warfare break out because Saints Row is the ultimate gangster game. More than Grand Theft Auto, more than Saints Row 2, this is as gangster as it comes. It's super aggressive and it's fucking awesome. Unfortunately for us, we're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just before we're taken out, a couple dudes save us. There's Julius Little, who is the leader of a gang called the 3rd Street Saints. They reside in the Saints Row district, hence the game's title. Julius is an awesome boss. He always manages to seem calm yet intense. Alongside him is another saint, Troy Bradshaw. He is a cool dude with a chill attitude, and probably one of my favorite characters in the game. He also always sounds like he has something in his mouth.
I got a lead on where the Los Canales cut all their shit.
I love both these guys, and that's going to be a recurring opinion whenever I'm talking about the characters. We're told to meet them at the nearby church.
Come to the church when you want to be a part of the solution.
Either they're inviting us to a worship service, or we found ourselves a crew. And in a place like Stillwater, we're not gonna last long without one. Making our way over to the church, we're introduced to Johnny Gat.
Who the fuck's this guy?
Gat is the Saints Row series' most iconic character. He's an absolute madman who is both as hilarious and intense as they come. Just knowing I've got a full game ahead of me with my favorite psychopath fills my heart with joy. He insists we get canonized.
Julius, if he wants to run with the Saints, he gotta be canonized.
Which is something every saint has to do. Basically, it's an initiation where you get the shit beat out of you. Sweet. Through this, we learn how to use melee combat. We can kick, punch, and block. I'm not a big fan, it's just slow. But I'm probably biased because I got my face pummeled. And it's not a big deal because the next mission is our tutorial, which gives us some guns. The weapons feel pretty decent and there's a fair variety, but it's kind of annoying that we can't access our cash in the store. And looting weapons off dudes doesn't unlock them in the cache either. But I enjoy the simplicity in its combat. There's no fine aim, just hip fire.
Oh man, this is just like Counter-Strike.
No, it's fucking not, Lewis. I also love that you hold the guns like a stereotypical gangster. It looks sick and feels satisfying. Paired with the smooth movement, this game is a lot of fun to play despite its age. except for the whole playing a shooter on a controller thing. Being a PC gamer, this was miserable. I don't hold it against Saints Row because that's just how console games are, though it could have used more aim assist options since it's very subtle. Next, our mission has us jump in a car and the vehicle physics are alright. Nothing terrible, nothing special. The default controls kinda suck though, since we don't use the triggers to accelerate and reverse, but good enough to get around in, and it's plenty fun to tweak the cars, but we have a seriously lacking amount of body mods and rims. If you've played the later games, then don't expect the same level of customization. There's really not much going on here, but we do get some awesome colors and even hydraulics. My favorite part about driving though is the music. We've got a great selection of radio stations, and of course, Gen X, The Faction, and Rock FM are my jam. So much awesome underground punk and alternative music. K-Rhyme and Chronic are also filled with tons of underground hip-hop, and it is so sick. And K12, well, it's a drum and bass station. Fuck, why did they change that? This soundtrack screams 2000s, and it is absolutely beautiful. In fact, SR1's soundtrack might be my favorite in the entire series, just because it has so much styles of music that I adore. We can customize our own mix by making a trip to the record store to buy more tracks. Such an awesome level of detail for what is a basic feature. I love this game's music so much, and it's only made better by the realistic DJ hosts and commercials.
We're open 24 hours, but after midnight, I just love it if you came in the back door. Freckle bitches, you can't beat our meat.
These are a riot and make the world feel so alive. The environmental filters are awesome too, like when you leave the music playing and get out of the car. Though it's kind of annoying having to double tap the exit key to do that. The last thing the game teaches us is how to wipe our notoriety. We remove it by passing through Forgive and Forget, but it also decays over time. The notoriety system is just as you'd expect in any GTA-like game. Kill cops or gang members and it goes up. Each gang has its own, so there's a lot of variety in who you wreak havoc on. The AI isn't very intelligent though. In fact, the NPCs, while diverse and pretty funny,
just on my way to visit my daughter at the titty bar,
are pretty lacking when it comes to their pathing. Like, look how you can escape gang members that don't have guns. Yeah. There's also a homie system where you can call people in to roam around with you, but the selection of characters really sucks. After clearing this mission, we unlock our first crib, the Saints Row Loft. It's a pretty basic, trashy apartment where we can customize weapon loadouts, change clothes, retrieve cars, and even set our spawn point. There's only a few cribs in this game, and for some reason the Saints Church isn't one of them, but they're cool enough and it's nice having a home base. From here, we help Julius and Troy clear out the row, but it doesn't end there. We gotta take over Stillwater, and to do that we're gonna be wiping out 3 different gangs. Julius assigns a lieutenant to each one. First up is Dex. Man, who doesn't love Dex? This guy always seems kinda serious, and yet he manages to be funny as hell. He's assigned to taking down the Los Carnales.
It's not the Los Carnales, it's just the Carnales. Los means... fuck it.
The classy Hispanic group. Then there's Lynn. This girl is cool as fuck. I love the cast in the game so much. Every single member really sticks out as their own, unlike the later games.
I didn't think the rollers pimped hoes.
Any other comments?
Yeah, when you punch, don't throw your shoulder so much.
Shut up, Johnny.
She's going undercover to infiltrate the West Side Rollers, who are a street racing gang. And last is Johnny Gat from earlier.
Bullets still kill motherfuckers, right? Doesn't get much simpler than that.
He's assigned to the Vice Kings, an extremely powerful gang who once controlled the entire city.
It ain't gonna be settled until the Carnales, the Rollers, and the Vice Kings ain't nothing but a memory. It's our time now. Let's get this shit started.
And with that, we've got 3 paths that open up for each gang story. But before we continue, we've gotta earn some respect. Ugh. Respect is a feature meant to lock you out of the story so that you're forced to experience the rest of the game. The problem is how much of a grind it is to get enough respect to play through the entire story. I really hate this shit, and there's no way to cheat it in. But buying sweet new clothes or playing activities will raise it. And with the prologue behind us, we can use this chance to fully explore the world. Welcome to Stillwater. This map is pretty sweet. Graphically, it's solid for 2006, though I found everything to look kind of monotone. Saints Row 1 has one color, brown, but at least it doesn't have that washed out filter SR2 had, and the skyboxes look really nice. But what makes this map good is the level of detail packed in every corner. There's so much to explore. It's filled with a bunch of interiors, stores, and many unique districts. If you've already played Saints Row 2, Getting to compare the changes is so much fun, like the original Saints Row district before it's taken over by Ultor. However, this map doesn't have quite the same wow factor or level of diversity as in that game, and I found the layout to be more frustrating, with many sections requiring me to take a long way around. But the world is still impressive in its own right, and it's awesome seeing where the legendary SR2 map started. There are some interesting differences outside of world design too. We replay missions and cutscenes at this cozy theater instead of our cribs. We have barbershops for changing our hair rather than doing everything at the plastic surgeon. Drugs actually have effects. There's these train stops to fast travel with, but they're hardly worth it considering how long you have to wait around for the train to pull in. I can see why this got removed from SR2. And get this, stores can have sales and you'll even be alerted over the radio on when it's happening. And they also close at nighttime. This can be a bit annoying because you have to wait until it's day to shop, but it comes with a really cool perk. Breaking in and cracking the safe through a minigame called Theft. Alarms go off and you build up notoriety the longer you take. You even get goods to load up in your car and drop off. I love how fleshed out it is, and it's a shame this didn't make it into Saints 2. Definitely my favorite open world diversion, and SR1 comes with an okay amount of them, though they were just bundled in with the activities at the time. There's store holdups if you prefer a louder approach than Theft, collectibles, hostage, which doesn't have the level progression it has in later games. They're simple but fun. There's also a loan shark which lets you borrow money. Failing to pay it back will get you in hot shit. I love these little details. They add so much depth and help the city feel real. There's plenty of activities as SR1 is where classics like Mayhem originated. Did you ever think you'd see Mayhem with indestructible fences? Yeah, the activities aren't very good. Even insurance fraud is awful in this game with less wacky physics and vehicles swerving out of the way. Some of the others like Snatch are a serious bore as well. Even Demolition Derby is weak in this game. I also dislike how the icon doesn't change after completing an activity, so you can't tell what you did, and we don't even have the option to retry after failing. On the plus side, we get to meet some cool side characters like the terrifying and badass Mr. Wong.
They are not to be harmed.
He heard me wrong. I wish for them all to be dead.
After playing through a million of these, I should be good on respect, so now we can tackle the story missions, which are okay, I guess. I don't really have much to say about the missions in this game. They're pretty plain. We either have vehicle fights and chases or go to an area and kill some dudes. It's really straightforward. The lack of checkpoints is extremely aggravating though. In fact, two things that are most annoying about this game is the respect grind and having no checkpoints even in the longest missions. It can make playing this game a complete chore, which is a shame because it's pretty good otherwise. There's also strongholds, which are like side missions. I'm gonna go through the story now, which often feels more like a way to set up missions than be its own driving factor. Because of that, I'll do my best to summarize the good parts. Regardless, spoiler warning until the time on the screen. We're starting with Los Carnales, because I consider them the weakest storyline. However, I do enjoy Dex and Troy's dialogue throughout. Dex's plan is to play this carefully, unlike Johnny Gat.
Let's just get the truck first, and then I'll tell you the rest of the plan.
I'm just saying it would be nice to know.
Shit, Troy.
We're going to cut off their income source and their drugs, which are provided by a group called the Colombians. There's the leader, Hector Lopez, and his brothers Angelo and Victor. These guys are a somewhat classy gang and not fucking around, though I wouldn't call the characters very memorable.
If you let your dick fuck things up with the Colombians, I'm gonna cut it off.
Forgive me, Hector.
¿Y qué fue eso?
We begin taking out their production plant and ruining their business, though it felt more like babysitting at times. Hector isn't too happy about the Saints' aggression and throws a temper tantrum, but it's okay. He won't be angry anymore as we kill him with the sniper mid-drug deal. We don't get a death cutscene, which is something this game is regularly guilty of. He's just kinda gone. Enough with the BJ scenes, man. Actually, this game's portrayal of women throughout is really gross. I'm not going to do a deep feminist dive on how much sexism is present in SR1, but it's very off-putting, and not something I have a problem with in the sequels. With Hector gone, Angelo is now in charge of the gang, so we need to get rid of him and Victor. Before we can make a move, the Carnales bust into our church, guns blazing. Oh yeah, gang-on-gang action fighting alongside our crew. Sure, it's simple, but this is sick and the kind of things I enjoy most out of the game. The fight ends with us killing Victor, leaving only one dude left, Angelo. We help out the Colombians with some dirty work, and in exchange get their exclusive business and Angelo's location. He's trying to skip town via plane, so we speed to the airport and blow his ass up. Minus his girlfriend, who shows up late looking for him. We let her go. Barely.
Shoes?
Actually, they're this season's new.
Hey, bullshit, that's last year's fall collection.
That's not true.
And that's it for these guys. Not too exciting, but the next storylines are better. So we're on to the West Side Rollers. Lynn goes undercover to score info for the Saints while dealing with these assholes. We use her tips to screw the gang over, such as rigging a shipment of their cars to blow. Our goal is to find Joseph Price and William Sharp, who are calling the shots. Price is close friends with a Rollers mechanic named Donnie, a complete meatball who might be a little in over his head working with the street gang. To get Lynn on his good side, we put on a little show by chasing him out of his shop and having her save him. In return, Donnie introduces her to the Rollers leaders.
I'm the best racer that ever came out of Chinatown.
How come I've never heard of you?
'Cause I got tits.
Is that what you call those?
My nephew has a unique sense of humor.
That was supposed to be funny?
Oh, I thought it was until you hit me in the face.
Yeah, then it was hilarious.
These guys are both douchebags in their own way, but a way that makes them good villains, especially Sharp. He comes off as the ruthless leader that doesn't play games. Needless to say, it's crucial that we kill him. Sharp is immediately suspicious, and after some leaked plans, he knows Lynn isn't loyal to the crew. He kidnaps her and baits the playa to the location, in which case the same thing happens to us. We're locked in the back of a trunk with Lynn. Sharp then brings Donnie to the spot and shoots us in front of him. See, we finally found out how Tupac really died. Or not, because in Lynn's dying breath, she finds her lighter and helps us get out. This scene actually made me tear up a little.
Stay calm. We're gonna get out of this. I think I found my lighter. Did you hear that asshole, Donnie? He said I was his girl.
She is a cool character, and it's a shame we won't be seeing more of her. Donnie didn't take it too well either because he had the hots for her. Aw, poor little meatball. Once we're free, we avenge her death and kill Sharp. But again, no cutscene. Price isn't too happy about the circumstance and gives us the call. He offers us a one-on-one duel, which leads to an ambush in a huge truck because he's a little pussy. We cause him to lose control and explode.
That was a hell of an explosion. You okay, player?
I got ran over by a motherfucking truck. What you think?
Oh, quit being a bitch.
And with that, the Rollers are no more. The last gang left is the Vice Kings. This storyline is the most interesting with the best villains and the best homies, considering we get to roll with Johnny Gat. We also get to meet Aisha, who is a singer that got her start in Saints Row.
Did you expect me not to take my shot?
No, I expected you to remember where you came from.
Oh, fuck you, Johnny.
Fuck me? Fuck you!
She's signed to the Vice Kings record label, but can't get out.
This is Aisha. And tonight we gonna kill her.
He's being melodramatic. See, I'm signed with Kingdom Come Records.
The group's name comes from the leader, Benjamin King. This guy is my favorite gang leader across the entire series. He's so intimidating and powerful. You can tell he's had countless years of experience and knows exactly how to run a criminal enterprise.
Everybody calm the fuck down. We ain't gonna start a war every time some motherfuckers act hard.
By his side is the bodyguard Anthony Big Tony Green and the really bratty producer Warren Williams. Or as King would say, wait, I'll get canceled if I say that. Tempting, but no.
That's fucking brilliant!
Slow up, little nigga.
And he's such a little shit. There's also Tanya Winters, who is sleeping with them both and is just a really unpleasant jerk. So, we help Aisha fake her death to get out of the record label by blowing the studio up.
Johnny, you said you'd take me out to dinner.
And here we are.
At Freckle Bitches?
Where else would we go?
In a failed attempt to ambush Tanya, Gat gets crippled by Tony, which forces us to flee.
I thought I told you to be quiet.
I got shitty hearing.
Now you got a shitty leg.
So do you. Go now!
Gat is hidden in Tony's condo, and after we secure the details, we come back and murder his ass, freeing Gat.
But how about you get me out of this fucking chair?
The little shit Warren gets increasingly more hostile towards Benjamin King throughout the story until he finally snaps and pulls an attack on him. King gets chased out of his own gang, but it's not long before Tanya turns on Warren and shoots him, becoming top dog of the crew. Now you see, Julius has history with King, so we actually save him. In exchange, King is given an ultimatum. He can either walk away from the Vice Kings and keep his life, or we kill him. He obviously picks the former, under one condition: we kill Tanya. I think that's a good idea. Now working alongside this guy is awesome.
I'm gonna skull fuck that bitch.
Hope you don't mind hepatitis.
What?
We wipe out the Vice Kings until only Tanya remains. She doesn't last long against our group, and that puts an end to the crew. Oh my gosh, we actually get a death cutscene.
Please don't!
Oh, Tanya. Do yourself a favor and die with some dignity.
King is given an offer to roll with us, but sadly declines, moving on from the gang lifestyle. Who knows, maybe he'll write a book or something. And now the Saints own the town. Julius gives us a rewarding finale speech, sounding relieved that the violence will stop. Gat and Aisha brew up a romance, King leaves town, and we're appointed to second in command. But it's not completely over. During this phone call, Julius gets busted by the cops and the crooked chief of police Richard Monroe holds him hostage until the mayor Marshall Winslow is killed and replaced with Richard Hughes, a corrupt alternative. I know, a lot of names that we'll never remember. We cooperate and kill the mayor, but Dex comes up with a plan that even Gat loves. Killing the guy who is at the funeral of the guy we just killed. Brilliant. Afterward, Richard Hughes, the new and crooked mayor, has us meet him on his yacht. He lets us know how much we helped him with his campaign through our little stunts. He tells us about how he'll publicize the Saints' murder of Winslow to hurt our gang and proceeds to kill us.
Hey, yo, can you speed this shit up? I want to go to Freckle Bitches.
But not before the boat explodes, leaving all of us for dead. And that's it. Yeah, we see Julius walking away, implying he was behind the explosion. Great way to repay us for saving his ass, huh? We also learned that Troy was an undercover cop, which isn't the biggest surprise if you paid attention to the dialogue during his missions. But that's the end. It's a bit anticlimactic, I know, not exactly satisfying. You gotta think of it as a cliffhanger, part 1 of the full story. You'll get to see what happens after the explosion, why Julius did it, and the future of the 3rd Street Saints in the game's sequel, Saints Row 2. But as for this game, that's the end. I'm sorry I don't have a bigger send-off. In conclusion, Saints Row 1 is an alright game, but it doesn't blow me away like SR2 does. I still hold a great deal of respect for it though, it's where the series began. And I do love this game, but it comes from a place of appreciation rather than pure enjoyment factor. From being a hardcore gangster game with great characters to setting this awesome 2000s vibe. There is a ton of good here, but I just don't care much for playing through it. Maybe I missed out on the prime and greatness of Saints Row 1 because it was the last game I played in the series. I'm sure it hit differently when it came out, but to me it's kind of a mediocre sandbox game. I've lost track of the number of playthroughs I've had throughout the series, but with SR1, this was my second time, and that's because I don't get much out of going through it. I'm sorry I can't praise this game the way I do Saints 2. I wish I could, and perhaps an actual PC port would have made it possible. But this is a game I'd rather watch the cutscenes for and then go on to play the sequel. When I'm playing SR1, I just find myself wishing it was SR2 instead because I don't enjoy spending time in the world. I hope I don't seem too negative. I'm by no means saying that this is a bad game, it's actually a pretty good game, and I think every Saints fan should play it at least once. It's just not the masterpiece that Saints Row 2 is, but it laid down the groundwork to make that happen. To me, playing SR1 is like visiting an art exhibit in a museum. It's a piece of history that paved the way. Without this game, we wouldn't have experienced one of the greatest titles ever created. We never would have seen the Playa or Johnny Gat. We wouldn't have gotten the beautiful world of Stillwater. The 3rd Street Saints simply wouldn't have existed. And for that, I thank this game for doing so much right. It wasn't perfect, but it delivered where it needed to. I'm not sure when I'll go back to playing through it again, but I'll always have a love for where one of my favorite video game series began. This is Saints Row. Alright, that's it for me, guys. Make sure you check out my other Saints reviews and do all this stuff if you want to help me out. With all that said, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.